There is a strange reason some people seem happier than everyone around them. They don't necessarily have more money. They don't have fewer problems. They don't have perfect relationships, perfect health, or perfect lives. In fact, some of the happiest people you'll ever meet have been through things you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. So what do they know that most people don't? The answer isn't positive thinking. It isn't luck. And it certainly isn't that they somehow escaped the problems that everyone else has to deal with. They simply learned how to live differently. More specifically, they built a handful of habits that changed the way they experienced everything that happened to them. The Stoics discovered these habits over 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. Seneca advised emperors. Epictetus began life as a slave. Different lives, different circumstances. The same conclusion. Peace is not found, it is practiced. Today, you'll discover 9 Stoic habits that can completely change the way you experience life. The first few may seem simple, but don't mistake simplicity for weakness. Sometimes the smallest habits produce significant transformations. 1. Protect first few minutes of your morning. Most people lose the day before it even begins. The alarm rings. Within seconds, they're checking notifications, reading emails, scrolling social media, watching bad news, comparing themselves to strangers. Before they've even left their bed, someone else has already taken control of their attention. Marcus Aurelius refused to start his mornings this way. Before leading an empire, he first led his own mind. Every morning, he reminded himself what kind of person he wanted to become before the world had the opportunity to shape him. That's a lesson most people never learn. Your greatest battle isn't with your schedule. It isn't with your boss. It isn't with difficult people. It's with the version of yourself that reacts without thinking. Instead of waking up asking, "What do I need to do today?" Ask, "Who do I want to become today?" Patient, disciplined, calm, focused. Choose your character before life tests it. Because if you don't decide who you'll be, circumstances will decide for you. One quiet minute every morning can completely change the next 12 hours. 2. Stop arguing with reality. This may be the hardest habit on this list because it goes against human nature. When something painful happens, our first instinct is to fight it. We replay conversations, we imagine different outcomes, we convince ourselves that if we think about it long enough, somehow the past will change. But it never does. A relationship ends, a business fails, someone betrays your trust. You lose an opportunity you worked hard for. The event itself is painful, but what happens next is often even more damaging. Your mind starts a battle it can never win. This shouldn't have happened. It's not fair. Why me? If only I had. Notice something. Every one of those thoughts is aimed at changing something that no longer exists. The past is gone. Yet millions of people spend years trying to negotiate with it. Marcus Aurelius understood that reality doesn't care whether we approve of it. Reality simply is. The sooner we accept that, the sooner we regain our freedom. Acceptance is often misunderstood. People think accepting reality means giving up. It doesn't. Acceptance simply means acknowledging what already exists so you can decide what happens next. Imagine driving down the road when one of your tires suddenly goes flat. You have 2 choices. You can spend the next hour shouting at the tire, complaining that it shouldn't have happened. Or you can pull over and change it. Only one response gets you moving again. Life works exactly the same way. The Stoics never asked, "Why did this happen to me?" Instead, they asked, "What does this situation require from me now?" That's a completely different mindset. One keeps you trapped inside the problem. The other turns you into the solution. The next time life disappoints you, pause before reacting. Take one slow breath. Then ask yourself 2 simple words. What now? Those 2 words have the power to save you months or even years of unnecessary suffering. Because the moment you stop fighting reality, you'll finally have enough energy to improve it. And once you've accepted reality, another challenge appears. You have to know where your energy actually belongs. That's where the 3rd habit comes in. 3. Focus only on what you can control. Epictetus believed this single lesson could eliminate most unnecessary anxiety. He taught that every problem in life falls into one of 2 categories: things you control and things you don't. It sounds obvious, yet almost nobody lives this way. Think about yesterday. How much time did you spend worrying about what someone else thought of you? How much energy did you waste wondering if people appreciated your effort? How many minutes did you spend replaying conversations that were already over? How many times did you imagine future problems that never even happened? Now ask yourself a difficult question. Did any of that worrying change the outcome? Probably not. Here's what belongs to you: your attitude, your effort, your discipline, your honesty, your preparation, your habits, your character. Everything else exists outside your control. Other people's opinions, other people's decisions, the economy, the weather, your past, tomorrow, luck, recognition, success. Most people build their happiness around things they can never fully control. That's why they're constantly anxious. Imagine planting a seed, you water it, protect it, give it sunlight, you do everything correctly. Now imagine digging it up every morning just to see if it's growing. You'll destroy it yourself. That's exactly what happens when you obsess over results instead of focusing on your effort. Do your work, then let it go. Prepare for the interview, then let it go. Give your best in the relationship, then let it go. Build your business with excellence, then let it go. The Stoics never promised that doing the right thing would always produce the outcome you wanted. They promised something much better. If you've done everything within your control, you no longer need to carry the weight of everything outside it. That realization is incredibly freeing, because it shifts your attention away from fear and back toward action. Here's a simple exercise you can use today. Whenever anxiety begins creeping into your mind, stop for a moment and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, act. If the answer is no, release it. It won't feel natural at first. Your mind will keep reaching for things it cannot control. Gently pull it back again and again. Eventually, you'll notice something remarkable. The less energy you spend trying to control life, the more energy you have to master yourself. And that is where real peace begins. But even people who learn these 3 habits often remain unhappy for one surprising reason. They carry every mistake, every disappointment, and every frustration from one day into the next without ever letting it go. The Stoics had a nightly practice that prevented this from happening. And once you begin doing it, you'll never end another day the same way again. 4. End every day with an honest self-review. Most people finish their day the same way they started it, distracted. They fall asleep with the television on. They scroll until they're too tired to keep their eyes open. Or they carry the stress of the entire day straight into tomorrow. Then they wonder why the same mistakes keep repeating themselves. Seneca had a completely different routine. Every evening, before going to sleep, he would quietly review his day. Not to criticize himself, not to feel guilty, but to learn. He would ask himself simple questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fail? What could I do better tomorrow? That's it. No complicated journals, no perfect routine, just complete honesty. Think about how powerful that is. Imagine if every single day you became just 1% wiser than the day before. One less emotional reaction, one better decision, one unnecessary argument avoided, one moment where you chose patience instead of anger. Those tiny improvements compound over time. Yet most people never stop long enough to notice them. Instead, they repeat the same habits, the same excuses, the same emotional reactions, year after year. Marcus Aurelius wrote Meditations for the same reason. It wasn't a book for the public, it was a conversation with himself. He understood that if you never examine your life, your habits begin controlling you instead of the other way around. Here's something worth thinking about. If someone secretly recorded your actions every day for 1 month, would the person in those recordings become the person you hope to be in 5 years? Or would they simply become a more experienced version of who they already are? That's why this habit matters. Growth isn't automatic. Time doesn't make you wiser. Reflection does. Before you go to sleep tonight, spend just 5 quiet minutes asking yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? What mistake will I refuse to repeat tomorrow? What's one thing I can improve before this day begins again? Those questions may seem ordinary, but answered consistently, they can completely reshape your character. Because every peaceful life is built through small corrections, not dramatic transformations. And once you've learned to reflect on your life honestly, another challenge appears. How do you remain calm when everything suddenly goes wrong? That's exactly why the 5th habit is so powerful. 5. Prepare your mind before life tests it. Most people expect life to go according to plan. That's why they're constantly disappointed. The Stoics expected something different. They expected obstacles, not because they were pessimists, because they were realists. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would meet difficult people. People who were selfish, people who were impatient, people who would lie, people who would disappoint him. At first glance, that sounds negative. It isn't. It's preparation. Imagine walking outside during the rainy season without checking the weather. The rain begins. You're frustrated. Your clothes are soaked. Now imagine someone else walking beside you carrying an umbrella. The same rain falls, but one person is miserable while the other keeps walking. The difference wasn't the weather. The difference was preparation. Life works the same way. People will disappoint you. Plans will change. Unexpected bills will arrive. You'll experience rejection. You'll make mistakes. None of these things are unusual. They're part of being alive. The problem is that most people spend their lives expecting a life without obstacles. So every obstacle feels like a personal attack. The Stoics saw obstacles differently. They saw them as opportunities to practice their character. Patience can't exist without something testing your patience. Courage can't exist without fear. Discipline can't exist without temptation. Forgiveness can't exist without being hurt. Every challenge is secretly revealing the person you're becoming. The next time something goes wrong, don't immediately think, "Why is this happening?" Instead ask, "What quality is this situation asking me to practice?" Maybe it's patience, maybe courage, maybe humility, maybe resilience. Suddenly, the obstacle isn't just an obstacle anymore. It's training. And that's exactly how the Stoics became emotionally stronger than the average person. They stopped seeing hardship as punishment. They started seeing it as preparation. But there's another reason many people never experience lasting happiness. They spend their entire lives chasing comfort. Ironically, that comfort slowly makes them weaker, which brings us to the sixth habit. 6. Choose small discomforts before life chooses bigger ones. This is one of the most misunderstood Stoic practices. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, yet from time to time he deliberately lived as though he had nothing. He wore simple clothes. He ate ordinary food. He slept without luxury. Why would someone with enormous wealth willingly choose discomfort? Because he wanted to ask himself one important question. Is this really what I was so afraid of? Most of us fear losing comfort more than we fear losing character. We panic when the internet goes down. We become irritated by traffic. We complain when the air conditioning stops working. We avoid difficult conversations because they're uncomfortable. We delay important decisions because they're uncomfortable. Little by little, comfort becomes a prison. The Stoics understood something modern life often forgets. A comfortable life is wonderful, but becoming dependent on comfort is dangerous. Because eventually, life will remove it. And if you've never practiced being uncomfortable, even small challenges begin to feel unbearable. Think about exercise. The muscles become stronger because they're challenged, not because they're protected from resistance. Your character grows exactly the same way. Every difficult conversation you stop avoiding makes you stronger. Every distraction you refuse makes you stronger. Every temptation you overcome makes you stronger. Every promise you keep to yourself builds self-respect. Real confidence isn't built by easy days. It's built by difficult days that you successfully overcome. So choose one small discomfort every day. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Read instead of scrolling. Wake up when the alarm rings instead of pressing snooze. Finish the difficult task before the easy one. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Not because discomfort is enjoyable, because every small challenge is preparing you for life's bigger ones, and something surprising begins to happen. The things that once stressed you no longer have the same power over you, because you've trained yourself to remain steady when life becomes uncomfortable. That's when you realize something profound. Peace isn't the absence of difficulty. Peace is confidence in your ability to handle difficulty. But even after mastering these habits, one hidden danger remains. It's something you expose your mind to every single day, without even realizing how much it's shaping your happiness. And once you recognize it, you'll become far more careful about what you allow into your mind. 7. Guard your mind like you guard your home. Imagine leaving your front door wide open all day. Anyone could walk in. A stranger could rearrange your furniture. Another could fill your house with noise. Someone else could leave garbage behind before walking out. No reasonable person would ever allow that to happen. Yet, millions of people do exactly that with their minds every single day. From the moment they wake up until they go to sleep, they allow endless streams of negativity, outrage, comparison, gossip, and fear to enter without question. Then they wonder why they feel anxious, why they struggle to focus, why peace feels so difficult to find. The Stoics understood that your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant repeatedly will eventually grow. Plant resentment every day, and resentment becomes your personality. Plant fear every day, and fear begins making your decisions. Plant comparison every day, and nothing you achieve will ever feel enough. Seneca was extremely selective about the people he surrounded himself with because he understood something many people ignore. The people you listen to eventually become the voice inside your own head. Ask yourself this honestly. How much of your day is spent consuming things that actually improve your life? Not entertain you, not distract you, improve you. If you spend 3 hours every evening consuming arguments, celebrity gossip, negativity, and endless bad news, don't be surprised when your thoughts become just as chaotic. Your mind cannot consistently consume poison and produce peace. That's impossible. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to return to reason whenever his mind wandered into unnecessary worry. He knew that attention is one of the most valuable resources a person possesses. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Imagine spending 30 minutes every morning reading timeless wisdom instead of 30 minutes scrolling through people you'll never meet. Which version of yourself do you think would exist a year from now? The answer is obvious. Peace isn't only created by what you do, it's also protected by what you refuse to allow into your mind. So become more selective. Choose books that challenge you, conversations that inspire you, ideas that strengthen you, friendships that elevate you. And don't feel guilty for walking away from environments that constantly drain your energy. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. Because once your mind becomes stronger, something beautiful begins to happen. You stop needing more. You start appreciating what you already have. And that's exactly what the 8th habit teaches. 8. Practice gratitude before chasing more. One of the greatest lies modern life tells us is this: happiness is waiting for you somewhere else. It's waiting after the promotion, after the new house, after the bigger paycheck, after the next relationship, after the next achievement. So we keep running, and every time we reach another milestone, happiness quietly moves the finish line again. Marcus Aurelius refused to live that way. He constantly reminded himself to appreciate what was already present instead of obsessing over what was missing. Think about your own life. 5 years ago, many of the things you now take for granted were once things you prayed for. The job, the home, the friendships, the opportunities, the knowledge, even the ordinary moments. Yet familiarity has a strange effect. It makes blessings feel ordinary. We stop noticing them. The Stoics believed gratitude wasn't just a pleasant emotion. It was a discipline, because your mind naturally searches for problems. Gratitude trains it to notice gifts instead. Tomorrow morning, before thinking about everything you need to do, think about 3 things you already have, not the obvious answers. Go deeper. The friend who answered your call when you needed someone. The lesson you learned from a painful failure. The health that still allows you to walk, breathe, and experience another sunrise. The family member who's still here. The quiet cup of coffee before the world wakes up. These moments seem small until they're gone. Gratitude doesn't make your problems disappear. It simply reminds you that your problems aren't the only thing your life contains. And when you begin seeing abundance instead of scarcity, your entire perspective changes. You stop living from desperation. You begin living from appreciation. Ironically, that's often when greater opportunities begin finding you, because peaceful people don't constantly chase happiness. They recognize it while it's already sitting quietly beside them. But there is one final Stoic habit that makes every other habit more meaningful. Without it, people spend their entire lives postponing happiness. With it, every single day becomes infinitely more valuable. 9. Remember that your time is limited. This may be the most uncomfortable habit on this list. It's also the most life-changing. The Stoics had a simple phrase: memento mori, remember that you will die. At first, that sounds depressing. It isn't. In fact, it's one of the most liberating ideas ever taught. Because almost everything we waste our lives worrying about becomes smaller when we remember our time is limited. The argument you've been replaying for weeks, does it really matter? The opinion of someone you barely know, will it matter 10 years from now? The embarrassment that keeps you awake at night, will anyone even remember it next year? Probably not. Seneca once wrote that it isn't because we have a short time to live that we waste life. It's because we waste so much of the time we have. Think about how often you say, "I'll do it later, I'll call them next week, I'll start when things calm down, I'll travel someday, I'll forgive them eventually, I'll chase my dream when the timing is right." But what if later never comes? How many dreams have died because someone assumed they had more time? How many apologies were never spoken? How many friendships slowly disappeared because both people believed there would always be another opportunity? Marcus Aurelius never used the thought of death to become afraid. He used it to become present. Because when you remember that your time is finite, something remarkable happens. You stop wasting it trying to impress people who don't care. You stop carrying grudges that only hurt you. You stop postponing the life you've always wanted to live. Instead, you begin asking better questions. If today were one of the last days of my life, would this argument still matter? Would I still spend 3 hours scrolling on my phone? Would I tell the people I love how much they mean to me? Would I finally begin the work I've been putting off? Most of us already know the answers. We simply live as though we have unlimited tomorrows. The Stoics wanted us to remember that we don't. Not to make us fearful, to make us grateful, to make us courageous, to make us present. Because the greatest tragedy isn't dying. The greatest tragedy is reaching the end of life and realizing you never truly lived while you had the chance. So let's return to where we began. There is a reason some people seem happier than everyone around them. It isn't because life has been easier on them. It isn't because they've avoided pain. It isn't because they're luckier than everyone else. It's because they built habits that protected their peace. They protect the first moments of their morning. They stop arguing with reality. They focus on what they can control. They review each day with honesty. They prepare their minds before life tests them. They choose small discomforts that build great strength. They guard what enters their minds. They practice gratitude for what they already have. And they never forget that time is life's most precious gift. None of these habits will remove every problem from your life. That was never the Stoic promise. The promise is something far more valuable. When problems arrive, and they will, you'll meet them with a calmer mind, a stronger character, and a peace that doesn't depend on perfect circumstances. You don't have to master all 9 habits today. In fact, don't try. Choose one. Practice it this week, then choose another. Real transformation doesn't happen through one dramatic moment. It happens through small decisions repeated every single day. One intentional morning, one calm response, one grateful thought, one uncomfortable choice, one honest reflection. Until one day you realize something extraordinary. The life you've been searching for wasn't waiting somewhere in the future. It was quietly being built by the habits you practiced every single day.